welcome to what? I'm looking at my camera. Okay, let's try it again. Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I have some fun crafts for you today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Do you care if we do some rustic farmhouse spring crafts? I didn't think so. Let's get started with project number 1. For this project, I'll be using a bunch of fabrics here. We're going to be making a cute pillow, and let's go over the fabrics we're going to be using. But first, I'm going to show you, I will have a free pattern for you linked to my blog in the description box for all the patterns today. So this is the truck pattern. Of course, you're going to cut it out and tape it together at the dash lines for the front half and the back half of the truck, and this is what it'll look like. No laughing at my truck, because I know it's a little wonky, but that makes it country and cute. We're going with it, right? All right, and then you'll have another sheet, a second sheet. Now, this is the first draft of that. So you'll have a truck fender and a tire, and then you're going to have a carrot. And the second draft that I'll show you later has 3 different types of greenery. So in essence, when you're done, cutting things out, you have your truck, 2 fender wheels, 2 tires, of course, when you put it all together, and I'm going to cut out 4 carrots and then whatever greenery that you want to put together, and you have a couple different options for greenery tops, okay? Now, so for my pillow, it's about 13.5 by 18.5. I was going to use that back plaid as the back fabric, but I decided to go with something else. I'll show you here in just a minute. For the carrot, I'm using this orange fabric from Hobby Lobby, and then the stripe fabric, I think that's Hobby Lobby as well, and that's the one I end up using on the back of our pillow. And I'll show you why in a little bit. Okay, so for the truck, I'm using this brown crinkle fabric from Hobby Lobby. You can certainly do the fenders in the same fabric, but I'm going to do a little bit different fabric for it. And then for the wheels, I'm going to go with this dark brown corduroy. And then I'm going to use some batting. You can buy it by the bag or by the yard. It's, I think, the most inexpensive at Walmart. So let's look at our pieces. I've cut out off camera. I've got 1 piece for the truck and a piece of batting. I've got both my fenders and a piece of batting for each one. Both my tires, 1 piece of fabric, of course, piece of batting. And then for my carrots, the front and a piece of batting. And we're going to end up cutting about 1/4 of our carrot off to go behind the truck, because if you leave it all on there, it's just going to add a lot of bulk down here. All right, and then my little greenery pieces. Now, here's when I'm cutting them all out. I'm like, what am I doing to myself cutting all these tiny little greenery pieces? So I change it. Give you 1, 2, and 3 options if you want to just cut out your greenery whole, okay? And then you don't lose your mind like I did. All right, so here I am cutting the first carrot off, just kind of showing you what that looks like and how I'm going to place it, like, 2 or 3 pieces of greenery if you want to go single. All right, and each of the greenery has a piece of batting. The second carrot, I'm going to kind of turn it around and make it fun. I'm going to put it in here like this. And then the other 2 carrots, cutting off the bottom and putting them the right way up again. And I do have to preface, I should have put the picture in here, and I cannot remember which store online website it was, because it's kind of a dupe, but Linda-fied up. So thank you to whoever made this up. But I thought it was just so cute. So getting our carrots in, our last little bit of greenery. You can see on like the 3rd carrot in, I only used 2 pieces. I'm like, I've got to use less greenery here. This is like too many little small pieces, but I did it. So now we're coming into our pillow. You can see I used the stripe as with the greenery on the back. I loved it because it was vertical stripes like the front, and then it kind of matched in with some of the fabric we were using on the front as well. And now I want to come in, and I'm just using 120 grit sandpaper to help kind of fray up the edges. It's a quick and easy way. You can see here what that looks like to give it that nice frayed kind of, country, rustic, farmhouse, whatever descriptive word we want to use, look to it all. And I'm doing it to all the pieces. Of course, this is optional. All right, finishing it up on the carrots, although you don't see it on this velour fabric as much, but you see it a little bit. All right, so we're going to work with the top fabric only. Now, this top fabric is upholstery fabric from Hobby Lobby. All right, so what I'm going to do is I want my truck to be equal in the center up and down, but in order to do that, I kind of got to lay my tires and stuff on so I get it directly in the center. And I'm at about 2.5 inches top to bottom, side to side, just kind of for placement, okay? Now I can figure out where I want to put my carrots. What we have to do is we got to kind of start from the bottom layer and work our way up Okay, and the bottom layer is the carrot greenery, right? That's the first layer that's going on. Then we come up with the carrots, then we come up with the truck, then we come up with the fenders, then we come up with the wheels. So we've got to kind of get everything into position to figure out where this greenery is going, all right? Then I'm going to kind of peel everything back, peel these off nice and careful because it's where I want it to be. And then I'm going to just start kind of spot gluing everything on. If you're a gluer, you can just glue all of your greenery pieces on whichever design you chose to use. And then, of course, I'm going to spot glue the fabric to the batting itself, of course. So I got to kind of glue twice, I guess. I got to glue the batting down and then glue the fabric on top of the batting. All right, if you're not using batting, you don't have to do that, right? And I'm just going to sew one line all the way down in the center of each. That's it. I'm not going to try to go around the perimeter. And like I said, if you're a gluer, you can just glue all that down. All right, so I'm going to show you my sewing here. I'm coming down one line. And then to go back up to the other one, I'm just going to turn the fabric and then go up. So I started kind of on the third one in from the left of the first batch of carrots. And then I'm just turn right back down around on that same middle carrot and go right back down. I am coming onto the main pillow fabric. See, I come across. That's okay because that's all going to get hidden by the truck. So I'm just kind of coming up, sewing up it, turning my fabric around, and then I sew down that greenery and then across over to the other greenery. And then this is what it looks like. All right, and what I like about this is the ends are kind of all pushed up because I didn't sew them down. And you can do that with the gluing as well if you want to just glue down the middle really well and leave your ends up so it gives it that fluffiness, right? Now I have to put my truck back into position to get my carrots where they need them to go, right? So now we're working on our second layer, which of course, like I said, is our carrots. So move all that off. And I'm only going to place these three down. If you're a gluer, you can glue everything down into position. Again, I'm going to just spot glue it down so I don't have to sit and pin everything around the perimeter. And this third carrot over here, it's kind of laying on that second carrot, of course, overlapping. But I can pull it up enough to sew around the perimeter of these carrots. And these, yes, I'm going to sew around the perimeter. And here's where I've done that. And you can see I was able to pull that third carrot up. And then we got to get our right side carrot up, or is it our upside down carrot? I don't know. Anyway, and when I'm laying it on here, I'm thinking it's not quite tall enough to be that top layer. So I end up cutting out another piece of batting to give it a real thickness, like a real 3D look when I sew it down. And I think that looks a lot better. Let's take a little cute kitties break. I know a lot of you are like, this isn't a kitties video, but I came out of my craft room and this is what was staring at me in the doorway. So super cute, had to share.
Pretty babies. Hi, pretty babies. There they are. You've been playing? Yes. There's Adela. Mama chirpies. You give Mama chirpies. Oh, there's a pretty girl.
Okay, let's get back to work. Kitty break over. All right, so let's get to, here's my carrot, and see how it just looks a little better all 3D. I think that works nicely. Let's get our next layer on, obviously, which is our truck. If you're a gluer, you can glue it all on. I'm going to sew all on it, including around the inner portion of, like, the window there. And then I'm going to go through, if you're a gluer or a sewer, you can get your wheel wells on, your wheels. Okay, now on the wheels though, the wheel to me looked like it needed a little extra layer like the carrot we just did. So I'm going to add another layer of batting underneath that just to lift it up a little bit so it looks, you know, more in line with the rest of the truck. And then we're just going to work through sewing everything. Like I've said, if you're a gluer, you can just start gluing all the rest of your pieces on. But yeah, I just love how this turned out. I think it's so super cute. I love the colors, that it's just a little bit more of, you know, calming colors, but you can do whatever you like. I tried to kind of stay more in the neutral zone, I guess, to say, and I don't know. I might have to keep this one. What are you guys thinking? You'll see in the end. I'll ask you again what you think when it's all done. All right, here's my sewing to this part. Sewed around. I love how all the like batting is sticking up around the edges and everything. And then we'll go ahead and get our tire on and around that inner wheel too off camera. Again, if you're a gluer, glue it on. If you all know that, I've said it 10 times by now. And then here's what that looks like. It's looking really great. Yeah, I just love how that batting poofs up. That's why I kind of use the batting underneath. Gives us that great quilted look. Now it's time to get our pillow together. We're going to leave all the raw edges out just like we did on the truck. If you're a gluer, come down about 3 3/4 sides right near the edge between the fabric. Leave about 4 or 5 inches open to stuff. If you're a sewer, same exact thing, leaving a little opening to stuff. So here we are, we're just going through a little bit of that sewing portion. We're just about done with this pillow. I think the hardest part was all those little bitty pieces of greenery, but you know, I gave you 3 options. I was sitting there like cutting all those individual pieces out like somebody's going to be yelling at me, so that's why I gave you one gigantic piece to cut out instead of individuals. Here it's all done. Here's my opening, all done and sewn. Now we're just going to start to stuff our pillow. Get it nice and tight as you want it. Might have to make a couple of these. I'm just saying. I don't know. And then once it's all stuffed, gluer, you can glue it closed, sewer, sew it closed. Here's what it looks like, and I love it. But the truck is all rustic, and around the edges, it's got that normal cut edge with scissors. So I'm going to bring it in and make it match the truck with my 120 grit sandpaper and just roughen all around those cut edges so it fits in with the front. That makes this project complete. We'll take a look at the results at the end of the video. Now what do you think? Do you care it for another craft? Let's move right on into project number 2. For this project, I am using this gigantic carrot from Dollar Tree. It's 46 inches tall, and it was a $5 price tag. The first thing I'm going to do off camera is I'm just going to take all the paper off and everything front and back. If you didn't want to do this, you could just use the back side. And we're going to just make it look all farmhouse with more fabrics. I'm just tracing out the whole carrot because we're going to kind of remake our pattern as we've done many times with wood pieces, okay? I'm on the floor. That's how big this carrot is. So I've got it all traced out, and I'm going to do each part separately. I'm coming in about a 1/2 inch from the original tracing line, and I'm just redrawing that perimeter, and I'll do both pieces separately. So they're 2 separate pieces. I'll do the bottom portion off camera, and it's the same thing here. I'm going to use the sage color paint and this Dixie Belle paint in terracotta. Both are chalk paints. And I'm just, of course, painting the top in the sage green. That green just kind of came from a local hardware store, of course. And my Dixie Belle paint I get off Etsy. Just painting a couple of coats. I do spray paint the back to finish it off. I'll show you that later, just so it's, you know, nice and pretty on the back side. Once the painting's dry, here's my papers. I've got them cut separately, and I'm going to use this velour fabric again for the carrot, just like the last project. And then this is a placemat I got at a thrift store for the greenery. And then, yes, I'm bringing in some batting again, optional. All right, I will cut 2 pieces of batting for the top and bottom portion. All right, so we're just going to show a little bit of the cutting process. You all know how to do it. The greenery reminds me of like a baseball glove for some reason. Thought you should know that. Get that cut out, and then I will get the carrot cut out off camera, of course, so you don't have to sit and watch do that. Cut, 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 and ready to go to the next section. All right, so here I've got 2 pieces of batting cut. Show you what I've got prepared and the greenery. And then if you're a gluer, you can glue all that together. Obviously, if you're a sewer, we'll sew it together. And then, of course, here's the bottom long, gigantic piece, 2 pieces of batting, and then a piece of fabric. All right, you can glue it together if you're a gluer. Now I decided I want to go ahead and distress around the edges just like we did with the last project, 120 grit sandpaper. Okay, so you can do that. That's optional whether you're a gluer or sewer. I just think it gives it more of that rustic look. All right, and then I've got another placemat here. I got it at a thrift store, and I cut a piece for a tag about 3 by 5. And I just printed my quote onto some fabric. I'll have a free printable for you in the description box. It's got 3 different sizes. I'll have a link to a video on my blog as well to go a little more in depth with this if you've never done it before. But basically, I just use some spray adhesive onto some typing paper, and then I lay my fabric onto that, spray adhesive side, smooth it down. I cut the fabric so it fits the paper, and then I just run it through my printer. And in here, we can just peel it right off, and the fabric is not sticky or anything. And so I'm just going to to cut out, you can see I got all different sizes and things like that. I wasn't sure what size I was going to use. Cut out the piece I want and distress around the edges with some sandpaper. Bella's helping me there. And then, of course, I want to cut out a piece of batting to go along with it. Okay, and then I'm going to just sew around the edges of the quote and on the tag itself. And we'll show that process a little bit. I never know if you all that are sewers like to see this part, so I always add in, you know, showing some of my sewing. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below. I've pretty much done it this way for a while now, but do you enjoy seeing a little bit of this or what? I've just never asked. I've never thought to ask. So anyway, if you think about it, let me know. All right, and then just moving right on into sewing our greenery to the batting for the top. And I'm sewing about a 1/2 inch in. You could do the same thing with gluing if you wanted to glue about a 1/2 inch in, so that when we go to add it onto the board, I'll show you why. It'll kind of allow those edges to pop up a little bit, kind of like on the truck when I was discussing that as well. And then, of course, we're getting our carrot part done, and then we'll go putting it onto our wood piece. Now, off camera, I went ahead and distressed it after I had painted it, and you could just leave it painted. You don't have to use fabric at all. I'm just showing you different options here. And when I go to add my glue, I'm going to glue it right where I started sewing, not beyond that perimeter. So like I said earlier, it'll kind of pop up. So yes, I'll skip ahead. It took a while to glue this long piece of fabric onto our carrot. Okay, coming down here. And then when I get it on there, I start to kind of indent in where I sewed, and I push it in a little bit at that sew line. You can do the same with your glue line. So it helps those edges pop up and helps kind of poof up the center a little bit. Okay? That's why, very easy. Going to do the same thing with, that's why I've told you gluing or sewing a 1/2 inch in. Same thing with the greenery on the top. It'll help poof it up a little bit and allow those edges to pop up. And then I'm taking some cream colored chalk paint mixed with water and a fan brush. And I'm just going to splatter onto our fabric, just some really tiny splatters. Our fabric just needed a little something more. You all knew, if you've been with me for a long time, I'm going to splatter something in every video. But I do like how it looks. You could skip this step if you want. All right, now I want to, trim off that junction between the top and bottom. So I'm just using some Dollar Tree rope here, just wrapping it around twice. And then I'll glue it into place here. Also on the rope, what I did is I unwound one strand to use later for a bow. And here's the back side that I talked about earlier, where I spray painted and distressed it a little bit. And then I've got this little bit of ribbon material left. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby, just enough to make a bow. So glue it to that rope there, and then we'll glue our little tag on. And then here's the one strand of rope from that rope tied into a bow, and I'll put that right over that to kind of hide that corner a little bit. And then I've got a little button that I put twine through the center. We're going to glue that on. We'll take a look at the results at the end of the video, but that makes this project complete. Do you carrot if we do one more craft? Let's move into project number 3. You betcha, more fabrics, but this is really fun. So a lot of these fabrics came from a thrift store. This one's a pillow sham. Another one is a pillow sham, came from Goodwill. Love the texture of them. This one was really hard to cut into. It's a real beautiful table runner, but I did cut into it. And I will have a free pattern for you. We're going to make carrots out of hearts. Again, not my idea. This is a Lindified dupe. I don't know why I never even thought to put the before and after pictures, but, whatever, we're going with it. But thank you to whoever thought of this craft. Thank you for the inspiration. On the greenery of this heart, optional, but you'll cut down the center about 1 inch. I'll show you that when we get in there. And, of course, I'm going to use some batting. Again, optional, all right? These are so quick and easy. Probably took 30 minutes to do all 3. I'm going to use this leftover quote that we used in the last project because I had a bunch of them printed out, and I'm just going to take the biggest one and cut it into 3 parts for our 3 carrots we're going to be doing. All right, so I cut this pillow sham 2 pieces of batting, all right? You'll lay the batting on the inside, of course. And then I've got the greenery cut. I didn't cut extra batting for this one. Here you can see I cut down the middle because it's such thick fabric, so I left it by itself. Here's the other orange fabric, and then 2 pieces of batting. And this one I don't show you, but there's 1 piece of batting in the center. We're going to go ahead and cut down about 1 inch here. All right, and that's so you can like fold it over or bunch it, or, if you wanted a single, leaf, something like that. And then I'm going to use some of this placemat again, just like the last project. And I've just got a couple little strips here, one piece of batting, and then our little quote all cut up. So it'll kind of look like this on all three of our carrots. All right, here's the other one. My first carrot's already done, so that's why I'm not showing it. And then I've got some of this fall ribbon from Hobby Lobby, but it's the perfect color for our carrots today. All right, so if you're a gluer and you use batting, you're going to glue the batting to each piece of your fabric separately. Then you're going to put it together. All right, pretty sides out, and then you're just going to glue around the perimeter between the two. Leave, a little couple of inches opening and finish gluing together. If you're sewer, you're going to do the same process, leaving an opening. And then again, on your leaf, there's my one piece of batting there. You're going to glue it all together if you're a gluer, whether or not you use batting. And if you're sewer, I split it apart here and then kind of went around that center and sewed as well. And then gluer for your tags or sew around it. So here we are, just going to kind of skip through each of the process of sewing all of these together. But yeah, when you're at like thrift stores, look for pillow shams and things like that, because they're usually a lot less expensive than buying a hard to find like old quilts to cut up, things like that. And I usually like to, if I buy quilts, they're machine quilts, so I don't feel like, feel bad about cutting those up and stuff. And that's why I love looking for like pillow shams and stuff like that, because you can find so many different textures, and then you don't have to have like a lot of closet space for all these big quilts. You know what I'm saying? So, and even a tablecloth or a table runner such as this, but it was so pretty in the texture. But anyway, you can use regular fabric if you'd like. All right, getting through all our hearts and our leaves here and our tags, getting those also. Now here's this one all done. Now you could like overlap it and glue or sew like this. You can just kind of bunch it together in the middle. I'm going to kind of do combo of both. I'm going to overlap and bunch. All right, still glue or sew. I'm going to kind of turn it on its side like this, and I'm going to just sew right down that, little spot there, nice and easy to hold it together. Right, this is what that looks like. Okay, now once our heart carrots are ready to go, we're just going to stuff them as full as we want. Get that all in there. I know, don't you want to just like put your fingers through Bella's little belly there? Don't see a head, but we got her fuzzy belly. Now when you're done stuffing, glue or sew them closed. Now we got our leaf here. I'm going to like glue it a little bit more overlap. This part of the greenery fits just beautifully in that little like recess there because of the way we stuffed it. So I'm just going to glue it right in there. And then some of my leaves I turn to the left, some are a little bit more center, that kind of thing. You can put them in there however you want. I'm going to overlap this a little bit more and of course glue that into the little recess right in the center of our heart carrot, whatever you want to call it. Make a couple of bows out of our orange plaid ribbon here. And we're just going to glue that right at the bottom of that greenery there. We want to hide that little, edge there. So get that glued in. And then when we add our little tags and glue those in. And then I've got some buttons here with twine through them. I just got to cut off the excess twine. I'll do that off camera. But once we glue our little tags in that center, glue our little button on top, that hides the bottom of that, ugly part of the greenery. And it makes these carrots, carrot hearts, let's just call them carrots now, makes them look so adorable. And then when I'm done, of course, I have a set of 3 fresh carrots, 25 cents. Don't you just love these? That makes this project complete. You enjoyed all of these projects today. Did you notice there was like a carrot theme going on? Interesting, huh? I thought it'd be fun to do that. I don't know what it is about spring, but bunnies and carrots. If it's Easter, I want Jesus. But when it's spring, it's like my heart goes to the bunnies and the carrots. I don't know, but we're going with it. Today's video, as you obviously saw, was all about the carrots. Don't worry, we'll do some more carrot projects if you didn't get enough in this video. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know which project was your favorite. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it if you'd like. And if you walked in here for the first time, you're just checking things out, you're digging what you saw, make sure before you click off, you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another project from me. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. We are all made up of different strengths and weaknesses. As individuals, we're able to take these different strengths and weaknesses and combine them into abilities. These abilities can then give us the skill set to get something done. As individuals, we thrive and we rely on our abilities. Perhaps we even try to rely on ourselves to make these abilities work together to get us where we need to go or where we need to be. We try to be self-reliant and not dependent on anybody else because we can't trust the outcome with another person involved. We can only trust ourselves. Or at least that's what we think sometimes. Even as believers in Christ, we sometimes try and use our own abilities to alter our timeline. We see the physical and not the eternal. We see what's attainable and what's in front of us and what we think we can repair. Here's where our thinking needs to take a detour. When we are alive in Christ, when we rely on Him and trust in His wisdom, His abilities, His strengths will be a far better resource with a far better outcome than we could ever imagine. Jesus is our peace, our joy, our hope. He is our promise to a brighter tomorrow. Using our own abilities can make us feel hopeless, but relying on God will make us feel hopeful. When we rely on God and not our own resources or abilities, we have freedom. Freedom from worry, freedom from fear, freedom from things going wrong when we try to fix it ourselves. In the Bible, the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. So the thought to consider is this. Allow yourself to let go of trying to do things of your own abilities. Allow yourself to stop trying to fix things on your own. If you're in the middle of waiting on a promise from God right now, stop trying to step out in front of it and gain control, trusting in only what you can see. Allow your faith to believe in what God can see and what God will do. Allow your faith to know His promise will come to pass. In the Bible, the book of Mark, chapter 11, verse 24, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Rely on Jesus to be your strength versus relying on your own strength. His attributes of mercy and grace will carry the powerful ability to lead you to those places that only He can see, those places filled with hope, peace, security. Reliance on God will help you to achieve whatever you set out to do, not of your own abilities and weakness, but of His abilities and strength. Trust in His ability, not your own. In the Bible, the book of Psalms, chapter 28 and verse 7, the Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in Him, and I am helped. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.